Hey everyone, it's Nicole. Welcome back to the channel. Today I am so excited to be partnering with Cirque to share with you all the Cirque Colors Vice Collection for 2025. I have been a fan of these Cirque Colors Vice Collections for many years now, and it's always my most... Hi Sassy! Okay. Rue is also here. As I was saying, the Cirque Vice Collection is always my most anticipated Cirque collection of the entire year. This year for the Vice Collection, we have 7 polishes total, 3 of which are brand new to the Cirque Colors lineup. The Vice 2025 collection is available right now on the Cirque Colors website. If you would like to pick up this release, you can of course use my affiliate code Nicole Loves Nails to save 10% off of the entire website. All the polishes featured in today's video were sent to me by Cirque Colors, and today's video is also sponsored. Thank you so very much for Cirque Colors for partnering with me for today's video. Because all of the polishes in this collection are neons, I'm gonna say this now.
It was a living hell!
Trying to get these to be color accurate. Neons are really hard to get color accurate, as I'm sure you all already know. So I did try my best, but just know these are all bright. So as always, in the description box, links to where you can pick these polishes up, links to the brand's website, social media pages, my social media pages. I will also have a link to my blog post on NicoleLovesNails.com where you can see all of my swatch photos. I also have some nifty comparisons for you all for today's video. There's going to be timestamps in the description box, sale info at the end. Let's get into this one. Going in rainbow order because I can't help myself, we have Retail Therapy. The brand describes this one as a neon fuchsia pink cream. It was previously released in 2018 and 2020. Retail Therapy had a fantastic formula. It was slightly on the thicker side, but the kind of thickness that adds to opacity as opposed to difficulty in use. I was pleasantly surprised by how opaque this one was on that first coat. I did opt to swatch it in 2 coats, but it was really close to being a 1 coater on me. This was a super difficult polish to get color accurate. It is a super bright neon pink that has a little bit of an almost blue undertone thanks to what I'm assuming is the fuchsia. And yes, in case you're wondering, color correcting this did in fact make me scream. Color correcting neons is not for the weak. And of course, this one did follow the rule where the more beautiful it was in person, the harder it was to accurately photograph it. This also dries down really flat, so you will definitely want glossy top coat to bring life back to the polish and give you a nice glossy finish. And now we have Valley of the Dolls, which the brand describes as a neon bubblegum pink cream. Valley of the Dolls was previously released in the 2020 Vice collection. Valley of the Dolls also had a fantastic but slightly thicker formula. For this shade, I think it's going to be a 2 to 3 coater depending on your application style. I found when I was doing my full hand swatches that if I overworked the polish, which I have a tendency to do, I did need to do 3 coats, but as long as I didn't overwork the polish, I found I had really great coverage in 2 coats. Valley of the Dolls is one of those fun shades of neon pink where it's a bit more subdued but still also really bright. Honestly, I'd put this in the neon pastel category personally. My full hand swatches are going to show Valley of the Dolls in 2 coats, with the exception going to my pointer finger, which was the finger that I overworked and needed 3 coats to make it look even again. As I mentioned earlier, I am a chronic nail polish overworker, so if you're like me and overwork polishes, float your coats on and do 3 strokes and then that's it. Fix the next coat but don't overwork it. For everyone else, normal application will be fine. This next polish is called Boozy Brunch and it was originally released in 2018. The brand describes this one as a neon coral cream. In my not so humble opinion, I would say this shade of coral is like the perfect pedicure color. I could wear this particular color on my toes for the entire summer and not get bored. Would I probably add a glitter topper to it at some point? Yes! But still, I wouldn't get tired of the color. Boozy Brunch also had a fantastic but slightly thicker formula. My full hand swatches are going to be showing this one in 2 coats. Coverage for this one was absolutely fantastic. It was just shy of being a 1 coater on me. This was one of the more difficult colors in the collection to get color accurate. I tried dropping the exposure here to kind of better show what color I was seeing in person, but as always, my full hand swatches do show the polishes color corrected. And just to make this even more frustrating for color accuracy, I've actually had Boozy Brunch on my thumb for the past couple of days, and depending on lighting, I feel like I've seen at least 4 different colors as I've been wearing this one. I love neon season so much just for wearing like polishes for my personal time, but I kid you not, they are some of the most frustrating colors to try to do for content creation because it's so hard to try to get what you're seeing in person to show up on camera. And you will definitely want glossy top coat for this one as it does dry down pretty flat. And now we have Suninn, which Cirque Colors describes as a neon bright yellow cream. This is one of the new shades for this year's Vice collection. Suninn also had a really nice formula. Honestly, it had a much better formula than I was actually expecting it to. I did notice that it self-levels a little bit slower than some of the other polishes in this collection, but it does self-level really nicely. This is going to be another 2 to 3 coater depending on your application style. If you are a chronic polish overworker like myself, you're probably going to end up going in for 3 coats. But I did find on 2 of my nails when I wasn't overworking, I was able to get this one perfectly opaque in 2 coats. But on my nails that I overworked it, I definitely needed 3 coats because I found myself having a couple of dark spots on the nail. I like to think myself a neon yellow connoisseur, and I found this one a very interesting shade. I feel like neon yellows are either in that bright sunshiny category or they look kind of like a tennis ball. And this one is right in the middle of those 2 color families, which I find really exciting because I don't feel like Cirque has done a yellow quite like this in their other Vice collections. And like the other polishes in this collection, Suninn does dry down pretty flat, so you will definitely want glossy top coat to give this one some life and shine. And I do also want to mention, while I did not personally experience staining with this shade, I often find yellow creams to be massive stainers on my natural nails, so if you're concerned about staining, make sure to double up on your base coat at the bare minimum. And now we have Miami-Dade, which Cirque describes as a neon blue cyan cream. This was previously released in 2019. Miami-Dade had a fantastic formula. I did notice that this polish was like a little bit less thick than some of the other polishes in the collection. It was by no means like a thin or watery kind of formula, but in comparison to the polishes that were like on the thicker side, I put this kind of in like the medium to normal side category. When I tell you all, I have waited 6 years to get a fresh bottle of Miami-Dade, and I am so freaking excited. This is so damn beautiful. This was a solid 2 coat formula on me. Even with my inability to not overwork a nail polish, I was still able to get my full hand swatch of this one opaque in 2 coats. It was a super forgiving formula, and it self-leveled so nicely as well. I would best describe this color in more of the cyan family. Like, I fully recognize that cyan can be blue, but I feel like this is very firmly in that like kind of cyan, like electric kind of color tone. And just like the other polishes in the collection, because this one is a neon, it is going to dry down pretty dull, so you will definitely want glossy top coat to give this one some life. And now we have Drama Queen, which Cirque describes as a neon purple magenta cream. This is one of the new colors in the collection. Drama Queen also had a fantastic formula. This one was actually a 1 coater on me. I feel like when the polish is wet, it looks a lot brighter and more magenta leaning, but I did find that Drama Queen dries down a lot darker than it initially applies. You'll see in my full hand swatches that the color that you see in the bottle versus the color you see on your nail are 2 different colors. I feel like out of the color rainbow, purple neons are usually the ones that are like the least eye-searingly bright, but they still somehow manage to be like bright and summery looking. Similar to the other polishes in the collection, this will dry down pretty flat, so you will definitely want glossy top coat to give the polish some nice glossy shine. I did not personally experience any staining with this shade, but I did also double up on the Cirque Colors Clean State Ridge Filler base coat. So for all of my swatches for this collection, I used the Cirque Colors Ridge Filling base coat paired with their peel off base coat in case anyone was curious. Of course, I had to save the biggest surprise of this release for last. This polish is called White Lie, and Cirque describes it as a neon white cream. White Lie had a really good but very thick formula. This had the kind of thickness that I often see in very opaque creams, especially ones that have a white base. This is the type of white cream that I would reach for as a base for nail art, toppers, and things of that nature. You get really good coverage on that first coat that you could just do 1 coat and be done for like a base for things. I did find for just wearing the polish on its own, it's going to be a 2 to 3 coater. If you overwork this one, you will definitely cause some dark spots. I found I had 3 nails that were good in 2 coats and 1 nail that needed that 3rd coat. White Lie is a very stark white. My full hand swatch of this one reminded me of when I was a kid and I used to put like paper corrector on my nails. That kind of stark white, that is this. Okay, I am warning you all now that these comparisons are going to be really tricky to get color accurate. So first up for comparisons, we're going to be working with Valley of the Dolls. So I pulled out Shopaholic and Socialite from the brand. I would best describe the difference between Shopaholic and Valley of the Dolls is that Shopaholic is like a little bit more warmer toned. Like it has slightly more like of a corally lean to it than Valley of the Dolls. I feel like this really shows the differences between these kind of lighter neon pink. My camera is for sure blowing these out a little bit. My original bottle of Retail Therapy is from 2018, so you can see some color difference. Here also is the bottle shot difference as well. On the left, we have the 2018, and on the right here, we have the 2024. I feel like this shows pretty well how neons definitely do change with time. Okay, next up we have Boozy Brunch. I could have sworn that I had one of the previous releases for this one, but I can't find it in my drawer and I don't have a swatch stick for it, so I'm guessing that I didn't get it then. So I pulled out Rumor Mill and Pyro. I darkened this up just a smidge just so you can better see the color differences. I would say that Boozy Brunch has a lot more kind of like a pinkish lean to it, or even like salmony than Rumor Mill and Pyro. And again, these are all neon, so it's really difficult to compare the different color differences as they change colors as well. Alrighty, so next up for comparisons, we have Suninn. As you can see here, I have multiple versions of Electric Daisy and Hedonist. To best describe the color differences between Suninn and the other two polishes, I would say Suninn is quite a bit brighter and has like a little bit more white added to it. It honestly kind of feels like it's a color in between Electric Daisy and Hedonist. Hedonist is actually one of my favorite yellow polishes from Cirque. Electric Daisy is kind of like a tennis ball, that kind of yellow green of like a tennis ball, and Hedonist is more like sunshiny yellow. Like the color of Hedonist is the color that I think of as like the color of the sun. Next up for comparisons, we have Miami-Dade. The Miami-Dade that's also listed here is from 2019. I picked it up in a D-Sesh just last year and I find it absolutely hysterical that I finally got a bottle of Miami-Dade last year and then Cirque has it re-released the following year when I was after Miami-Dade for years, but that's neither here nor there. And I also pulled out Go Lightly, which coincidentally is another shade from Cirque that I was after for years, and I just got that one just this year when they re-released it earlier in the month. So I do feel that the 2025 version of Miami-Dade is quite a bit brighter than my 2019 bottle, which is to be expected because, you know, it is a fresh batch of neon. I feel like the 2025 bottle of Miami-Dade is definitely in the color family that I have seen of swatches for it, and my older bottles is like a little bit darker and it kind of looks a little bit more green toned. Alrighty, so next up for comparison we have Drama Queen. I opted to pull out Guilty Pleasure and Plastic. I feel like these are all different variations of purple, with Drama Queen being the darkest out of the bunch. The brand describes Drama Queen as being a more magenta purple, where Plastic also I would describe as a magenta purple. I would say Drama Queen is more purple and then Plastique is more in the like magenta, almost fuchsia kind of family. And then I would say Guilty Pleasure is like what I usually think of as like a quote unquote true purple neon. Okay, I feel like this is probably going to be the most anticipated comparison for this entire video. And I have Cirque Colors White Lie versus Cirque Colors Carpe Diem, which is their normal white cream. But I feel like you can see that Carpe Diem and White Lie are different tones of white. And here are the two polishes on a black background. I'm undecided on if you can see the color differences better over black or white, to be honest. White Lie is what like a stark white, and I feel like Carpe Diem has not necessarily it has yellow in it, but I feel like it has more of like a yellow undertone in comparison to White Lie, which is kind of interesting because I've never once thought of Carpe Diem as being like yellowy. But I feel like next to like a stark white, it definitely is looking kind of yellowy. And then here is White Lie versus Carpe Diem under Black Light. And White Light definitely glows under Black Light, whereas Carpe Diem does not. And here is the entire collection under Black Light. You can see everything is glowing really nice and brightly with the Black Light. I feel like the color that I'm seeing in person for all of these looks a bit more saturated under Black Light than it's appearing on camera, but all of them do in fact glow under Black Light. So I also just wanted to show some more just playing around with White Lie. So here I showed it paired with some of my favorite toppers from Cirque Colors. And then I did some little funky nail art. I've got all of the polishes that I use written on the screen as well as linked in the description box. So on the right, I'm showing White Lie as a base for a gradient. And then on the left side is the same gradient, but without any kind of base at all except for base coat. And you see how nicely the gradient really pops over a white base. So if you're like me and you don't generally just wear a white polish, I just want to show a couple of different options that you can do with it. Alrighty, so final thought. Similar to my reaction when I saw the lineup for Cirque's Creme de la Creme collection from earlier this month, When I saw this year's Vice Collection lineup, I screamed. Miami-Dade is one of my all-time Cirque colors lemmings. Years and years and years ago when I first got into Cirque colors, I always hemmed and hawed on the Vice Collection, and I always ended up regretting it whenever I did skip something. So yeah, I'm always really excited when Cirque brings back polishes in the Vice Collection because it lets folks like me, folks like you all be able to pick things up that they might have missed years ago. Cirque, since I know y'all are watching, the people want lean. And by the people, I mean me. I want y'all to bring back lean, please. Thank you. That's the last Cirque Vice polish that I don't have that I want. So shooting my shot, folks. Unsurprisingly, I thought this was a fantastic collection. I feel like the Vice collection is always one that I always really enjoy from Cirque. I love bright neons, but particularly for the color story of this one, I feel like all of my favorite colors to wear in summer are pretty much encapsulated in this collection this year. I will fully admit, I was a little surprised at Cirque releasing a white cream in the Vice collection since the Vice polishes are always opaque on their own. I honestly kind of am digging the fact that they put a white polish in this release anyway, and I really like the idea behind pairing the white polish with Cirque jellies and other toppers, because I feel like in the summertime, I feel like a white pedicure is really cute looking, like a stark white pedicure, and I feel like white lies would be a really good like stark white pedicure color in particular. I feel like it's completely obvious that Miami-Dade is going to be my top pick from this collection. It is one of my favorite Cirque polishes like of all time, so duh, it's gonna make my top picks list. But Suninn and Boozy Brunch are also gonna make it onto my top picks list, and I know someone's like, Nicole, what about Pank? Listen. I know I love me a neon Pank. I know Pank is my thing, but
I said what I said.
As far as pricing and sale information goes, the Vice Collection is available right now on the Cirque Colors website. Sadly, the Vice Collection is considered a limited edition collection. All the polishes in the Vice Collection are priced at $12.50 each. There will also be a special bundle listing to save 10% off all of 7 polishes in the collection, or you can also use my affiliate code to also save 10%. My coupon code will not stack on top of the bundle listings. You kind of have to pick one or the other. Cirque also recently released the Creme de la Creme collection. I'll put my video up here in the cards in case you missed it. On top of all of that, we also have a summer curation collection on the website called the Lacquer Lagoon. All of Cirque's fun, bright shades for summer are going to be in the Lacquer Lagoon. The theme for the Lacquer Lagoon is all things beachy, fun, bright, tropical, like fun vacay vibes. I would love to know what everyone thought of this release. Are you planning on picking up? Are you a fan of the Vice Collection? What do you think of neons? Let me know. I'm always very curious to hear what people think. Before we end today's video, I want to give a very special shout out to my channel members, Shenanigang, Story fans, your names of course all on the screen right now. For those of you who are in the Shenanigang or higher tiers, we do have a members live stream happening today. If you would like to sign up for my channel memberships, there is of course a link in the description box. And as always, please do not feel pressured to do so. Just like the video, comment, share, subscribe, all the things, and seriously, we are good. If you like seeing my face here on YouTube, don't forget I do have a second channel, which is just my name, Nicole Danielson. I just posted a video a few days ago. I post all of my non-nail polish shenanigans and nonsense over there, so if you're into that kind of thing, don't forget to subscribe over there. Thank y'all for joining me for today's video. I hope you enjoyed it, and thank you again to Cirque Colors for partnering with me for today's video. Have a lovely weekend, folks, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!
When I get high, I ain't looking at the clock, still ballin' like Brian. Yeah, I'm headed to the Bucks, then I'm ballin' like yeah.